Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Me? Well, I am braced for the coming Armageddon of melting roads, spontaneous forest fires, and the sunburned hordes bringing the country to a standstill as they search in vain for aftersun. However, I have a summer hat on, as you can see. I have a cool beverage by my side, and while it's not currently switched on, there's a fan close at hand as well. But come midday, I shall do my duty, and I will join the mad dogs and my fellow Englishmen out in the midday sun. So without further ado, let me post the question of the day, roll the intro, and get this show on the road. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. It's Monday, the 18th of July, and as that remarkably persistent guy just said, welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, CDI continues its personal vendetta against the world's power stations. We're off to Germany for some proper demolition and recycling. We're going to look back one final time at Hillhead 2022, and we're going to chill out, literally, with a visit to snowy Sweden. Plus, why a climate of fear within the demolition and construction industry might be making the sector less safe. We'll get to all of that in just a second. But first, let's see who among the rich and the shameless will be celebrating on this very, very warm day of days. Happy birthday! And it's many happy returns to old-time cricket all-rounder and beard enthusiast W.G. Grace, and to the real Machine Gun Kelly. A happy birthday also to political prisoner turned president Nelson Mandela, to the first American to orbit the Earth, astronaut John Glenn, and to blues singer Screaming Jay Hawkins, to gonzo journalist Hunter S. Thompson, to the 72-year-old virgin Richard Branson, golfer Nick Faldo, actor Vin Diesel, and to the fearsome boxer Canelo Alvarez. But far more importantly, a very happy birthday to my little girl, my firstborn, my eldest daughter Georgia, who has had me wrapped around her little finger since the day she arrived. Many happy returns to them, one and all. It's as if Controlled Demolition Inc. has a personal grudge against fossil-fueled power stations. The mighty CDI continues to roam across the UK and sometimes beyond, laying waste to any old power stations that cross its path. And the latest to fall under CDI's destructive gaze is the Hoot Lake Power Plant in Minnesota. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but that is yet another textbook blast by the CDI team. Hats off to them.
The Miller GT series heralds a new era of unrivaled power and cutting-edge intelligent coupler technology, increasing job site safety, machine versatility, and productivity. It's the added versatility that you need at the value you can afford. To find out more, visit millergroundbreaking.com.
On Friday and Saturday last week, we spoke at some length about the importance of speaking up about safety issues. We spoke about why some workers are reluctant to do so and why this is a major issue. At the time, I said that I'd written about this subject before, so I went back to check exactly what I'd said on the subject previously. So what you're about to hear was actually written back in August 2020. August 2020. It was written in the same week that an unnamed man was killed in a demolition collapse in Tottenham, and the same week in which a young woman, Shannon Brazier, was struck in the head by an excavator bucket. You might actually recall we did a fundraiser for Shannon. Thankfully, pleased to report she made a full recovery from her injuries. Anyway, this is what I wrote back in August 2020. A day or two ago, a demolition manager posted on social media a photo that showed dangerous practice on the site of a well-known UK demolition company. You'll note that I'm not naming the demolition manager for reasons that will become clear, and I'm not naming the demolition contractor either, as I'm not really qualified to pass judgment on the practice in question. Bearing in mind the photo was posted in a week in which one demolition man was killed and a young demolition worker was seriously hurt in a separate incident, you would think that this display of concern and transparency might be cause for praise, or at least for wider discussion and investigation. But no. Rather than being thanked for drawing attention to a potentially dangerous situation, the demolition manager has been vilified and castigated by his peers. Worst of all, he has been reminded or warned that his exposure of a potential risk could jeopardize his future employment prospects. And he has been warned not once, not twice, not even 3 times. At the time of writing, he has been advised 5 times about his future job prospects if his post remains visible. One of those warnings states, don't think our industry needs a post like this after what's happened in the last couple of weeks. Seriously? During that period, the industry has sent one man to the morgue and another woman to intensive care. So what? We should look the other way, bite our tongues, keep our concerns to ourselves? Surely, if ever there was a time to identify, highlight, and analyse dangerous practice, surely that time is in the immediate aftermath of an accident. Now, we can, of course, debate the wisdom of posting the picture on social media rather than contacting the company involved, but to do so merely detracts from the core of the problem, and that problem is certainly not with the person posting a photo on social media. And this is unfortunately far from being an isolated incident of misplaced anger or misdirected vitriol. I too have posted on Facebook a short video showing poor demolition practice that resulted in chunks of concrete spilling out onto a road that was open to passing traffic. The film itself was shot by a concerned neighbour whose house was directly in the firing line for the falling debris. That video was initially viewed by about 850,000 people, although it's since been viewed by several million. And it's attracted a huge number of comments that fall roughly equally into 2 categories. The first category is rightly appalled at the content of the video. The second is rather more focused upon the woman filming the demolition. She is described variously as a nosy cow, told that if she got a job, she wouldn't have to worry about the demolition, and to sit down, you nosy old bat. I'm just relaying the clean ones. Getting back to my original point, when a qualified and experienced demolition manager posts an apparently worrying photograph on social media, he shouldn't be placed on the industry's shit list. Rather, he should be moved directly to the top of the headhunters' hit list. He is a man, or in some instances a woman, that knows what is right and what is wrong, and isn't afraid to say so. He can recognise deficiencies, vulnerabilities, and potential hazards. I think the main problem here is clear for all to see, but there is a second underlying but equally concerning issue. If the industry creates a climate of fear in which experienced and knowledgeable workers are afraid to speak out lest it impact upon their career prospects, then we will have surrounded ourselves with yes men and yes women, drones and automatons that will ignore and gloss over safety concerns in return for ongoing employment, access to the next rung on the ladder, and a future pay rise. Against such a background, further incidents, accidents, and fatalities are not just likely, they're inevitable. Now, just one final thought, and we're back up to date now, just one final thought on this subject. If the weather experts are right for once, and I'll believe it when I see it, today will be the hottest day of the year so far, and tomorrow could be the hottest day on record ever. That means that up and down the country there will be hundreds of thousands of demolition and construction workers working under a blazing sun, wearing sweaty hard hats and nylon high-vis vests, many of them with no shade. Based upon all that I just said about the industry's climate of fear, how many do you think would speak up if they were struggling in the heat, if they were dehydrated, or if they were suffering the effects of heat exhaustion or sunstroke? Based on all that I'm hearing, I would suggest that figure would be very, very low indeed. Before we move on, I'm just going to highlight this because some of you may be interested. I'll be certainly tuning in. And Nick Drew, he of the Diggerman blog, I'll be briefly popping up on Fix Radio, the builder station, again today at around 2 p.m. ongoing. If you fancy a listen, you can find the station here, www.fixradio.co.uk. I don't know whether that's a guest slot that you've got, Nick, or whether you're picking the tunes for the day. Whatever it is, I shall be tuning in, so long as I'm not slumped under a sunbed somewhere. Now, where are we? Yes, with the sun blazing in the sky, I thought now might be a good time to cool things off just a little bit. We're heading for a snowy Gothenburg in Sweden to check out some chilly-looking demolition action. Never thought I'd see a day where I longed for snow, but didn't that look lovely and cool? And from Sweden, we're heading directly to Germany for a bit more demolition and more than a bit of materials processing and recycling. Back to the old trusty hat. The next time somebody mentions how the demolition process wastes embodied carbon, I'm going to show them that film and remind them just how meticulously this industry salvages, recycles and reuses pretty much everything.
Axoft and Svantec are your high-end partners for noise, vibration, dust and air quality systems, sensors and software. To find out more, visit axoft.co.uk or call 01234 639 550.
Right, I've said it before, but this time I really mean it. No, really. We have just one more final look back at the magnificent Hillhead 2022 show for you. For those of you that were lucky enough to attend, this will hopefully bring back a few happy memories. For those that weren't lucky enough to be there in person, this is just a glimpse of what you missed, and it shows you why the 18,500 people that did manage to attend are still talking about it. Just going to answer Peter Haddock's question very, very quickly. That's a lot of quarrying going on at Hillhead. Mark, how many minutes was that condensed into the clip? In actual fact, there was a handful of clips on display there. I reckon there was probably half an hour, possibly even 40, 45 minutes, all condensed into 2 minutes for your viewing pleasure. But what I will say about that is, while that was a great film, thoroughly enjoyed it, didn't really do the show justice. It really was an absolute corker.
Sorry to interrupt the guy with the funny glasses, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button as it helps our channel. Or, better still, share this video with a friend or a colleague. Thank you. Right, back to Beardy.
Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat. It'll be a very tired and overwarm gazelle, but I'll be leaping gazelle-like anyway to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around for that, please stay safe, stay hydrated, stay cool, look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. But if you do have the time and the inclination, and if you can find somewhere cool to watch it from, I'll see you on the other side of this.